Welcome to another episode of Cross Culture Safari. In this episode, I have a quite unexpected guest because I just met him last week during an event at a library in the city where I studied at Wageningen University. And I quickly recognized the face because I remember it from the first week that I was in Netherlands for the first time. So there was a guy who knocked my door at the building where we were living, and he wanted me to join his outdoor fitness team. I was quite excited at that moment to do, but I was busy with studies, and just like I do now, I made excuses not to join his group. And I saw him a few times, like after that, at the campus, but we didn't really interact. But at the library, I got a chance to talk to him, and was really inspired by the short talk that we had. And with that, I'd like to invite Guido on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Guido Soeteman, son of Eric, son of Monique. And
Very specific.
what I love about what you said is actually that I knocked your door, right?
Yeah.
So my organization in Wageningen started in 2015, just the beginning of 2016.
Yeah.
And bringing the fun back in fitness.
Yeah.
And essentially in life, bringing the fun back and doing it outdoor. And you described it beautifully. We do that since you moved to
2015.
Wageningen. 2015.
Yeah.
So that's really when I started back in Wageningen again, and then in a gym. But nowadays a lot outdoor and really bringing the creative aspect of movement also back in movement. So not really keeping it in like only push-ups or only this outdoor, but really being open with everyone's body is different. Everybody has different needs and goals and ideas about what's good for their body. But then, doing that since 2015 just brings me a lot of joy still today. And Goaltrainers is the name. So we set goals together and we fly there together under the wings of the group. And it still gives beautiful results, still gives people smiles, still gives me smiles. So I'm enjoying that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I really missed an opportunity because I think I could have gained so much in the aspect of the world of fitness if I had joined Guido at that time. But as they say, it's never too late.
Exactly.
And I don't live very far away from Wageningen. So who knows, maybe sometime I'll join one of the groups.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Yeah, thanks. One thing that struck me, because I clearly remembered your face, like when we met at the library. I think you as well, because then that's why we started having a conversation. You were just a bit different, younger, like 8 years younger.
Yeah, definitely.
At that time, and full of energy, and a passion for fitness, as I remember, like when we had the chat. And I mentioned to you that I practice yoga. I'm very happy that I still continue to do that, even if it's like 15 minutes in the morning to just get started, some Surya Namaskars or that kind of stuff. But I want to take it to another level myself. But with you, what has changed is that you have got a beard in that time. Like that's more the physical side of it. But that's not the only thing, because as I mentioned to you before the podcast as well, I've seen that like you have become quite a lot more calmer as a person, in my opinion. And I don't know, I really felt that this guy is at peace with himself. Like when I talk to you, you're very grounded from inside. Like I felt like a lot of joy. How has things for you been in the last 8 years? Like, why do you think I see that difference? And is that something like that you see as well, or you've heard from other people? Go ahead with some examples from last 8 years.
Wow. Yeah. That's a great question to dive in with.
Yeah.
For me, the movement externally, physically, is just a layer, right? And what I noticed, especially being in fitness land, doing a lot of workshops and all kinds of things, also giving them, but also taking them, is that I noticed that a lot of people that are so obsessed with the physical layer of fitness don't really seem to have that inner peace and that relaxation that I'm like there was so wondered about like, wow, how do some people have that? And that started actually with my grandma. My grandma did her yoga teacher training when it was still called yoga, not all kinds of flavors yet, in 1980.
Yeah.
And
before it went mainstream.
Way before that, and she was very strong Christian. So that was before 12 years before my birth. She did her yoga teacher training, and she told me never really teaching. She just demonstrated in the way that she kept her cool in situations, and she was just a calm presence.
Yeah.
And I was always striving for combining this with fitness.
Yeah.
And step by step, I've just made a lot of mistakes. Let's say like that. I moved to Gran Canaria for 2 years. Not that I want to see that as a 2 years of mistake. I learned a lot there, but I noticed like it's also not found in another country to live there. It's really that I have to find it in myself. And I had the vision back in 2016 of just big groups, again, moving and discovering their body in different ways, not only in the terms of strength, but also in the terms of what new moves lie within us.
Yeah.
And for me, it is a huge metaphor towards what you can do with the body as what you can do in life. Because if you stop believing in the new capabilities of your body, you sort of almost stop believing in the new capabilities that you have in life. And this was a continuous journey. I'm still excited to visit workshops of people that inspire me. I was at the Isha Foundation, that's why I'm wearing this outfit. It was the same outfit as I wear on the night of Mahashivratri this year when I was in India. And I just felt called to do that again, because I noticed the movements physically, the movements mentally, the movements emotionally, energetically, all work together. And when I noticed this myself, there's not really been this one aha moment. It's just been like drips from all kinds of directions. That I was like, I need to do this more. I need to start taking my morning more quietly. I need to eliminate those kind of foods from my diet. I need to embrace this more silence in my day, and cold showers and all kinds of things. So man, it's I feel always humbled when I hear people that say, you changed a lot. I think that's the key of life, man, to keep changing, man. And
to keep growing, to keep learning.
So
and you have done it in a really good way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so usually, my podcast is called Cross Culture Safari, and I like to have people from different cultures, different kind of upbringings, talk about their upbringing in general. And I usually start with that. With you, I went back, like not that back far in history, like 8 years back, like at the moment where we met. We did that first, but now I would like to come to your growing up. How was it for you growing up in the Netherlands, with having also background from Indonesia, I heard, from the side of your father? And if you would like to talk a little bit about that and some of the highlights of growing up in the Netherlands, and how that has kind of shaped your worldview in currently.
Definitely. First of all, I'm always proud to mention that the moment that I was created, as from the Buddhist point of view, that's your birth officially, the moment of conception. My parents were
enlightenment.
My parents were in Zimbabwe. So I was actually created in Zimbabwe on a mountain where my parents lived. And this shaped me a lot in the story that I tell myself, because when I was in the belly of my mother, she was eating a lot of mangoes and avocados from their own garden in Africa. And just a couple months before my birth, I moved to the Netherlands. And I remember an old article in a newspaper where it said, and my parents were being interviewed, and they said, like, here we complain about our little discomforts. But they used to live in Zimbabwe and also in Mauritania. My father lived for a while, and he was invited by a lot of people in the village to eat dinner, and always super community vibes. And my parents kept that going. And in the Netherlands, they were a little bit like, what's happening here? You
Frowned
need to
upon,
make
yeah.
you need to make appointments with people weeks, if not months, in advance
Yeah.
if you ever want to have dinner together. And so this was from my parents' side, not even the Indonesian side, but just like the way that they got to know each other and spend time in Zimbabwe and Mauritania. And yeah, I appreciated that a lot, reflecting back, because at our house it was never like, we're gonna have dinner, see you tomorrow. It was always like, come eat with us and you're welcome. And also from my Indonesian family, my grandma especially, warm lunch like we also had at your place, which was a great Indian lunch.
Thanks.
yeah, it's really nice, because I think that food is really something to share, and it goes beyond the words and beyond everything. But once we eat the same food together, really our body eats the same substance that came from the earth. And this is something that my parents gave to me very early, like, hey, we are meant to be sharing food together. So that had a huge impact on me. I was always a big eater. One of the stories that I told in the library was also about that. That my parents never ate really a lot of meat when I was growing up. So for me, eating meat was kind of special. So when I was at another house and they would serve meat,
you would compensate.
I would eat quite a bit of it, and literally as like a 3-year-old kid already.
Yeah.
Imagine this. They would serve like whatever, salami or something. And I would ask, can I have more? Can I have more? As a 3-year-old kid, and I finish a package. And then later they were like, what? This kid keeps eating. So for me, looking back on that, it was that I appreciated things that were not seen as normal for me a lot. And I think that goes for the whole Dutch culture as well. That when I was at a friend of mine, it was so normal for me to invite myself kind of over for dinner. When I was a young kid already, that like, imagine like a 6-year-old saying, hey, do I eat together? That the parents would easily be, why not, you know, and then call my parents. So I kind of brought that community spirit without even knowing what I was doing. And also the food element of that is really about the share. I never was really into the standard Dutch kitchen. There's even one story that I was in a restaurant and then, for you the kids menu, the waitress said. And then I was like this little kid saying, no, I want what everyone is having, like the special dishes. Yeah, I love to explore also the cultures in the kitchen. So that's really what I heard always back, like, that's really what sets you apart from the standard. And Indonesian, Indian, it's really, for me, it was always about the different types of food and the different types of looking at food, looking at that moment, and really having a moment of rest before we start eating. And that's what I still try to do my best to bring over. To just have that moment of like, wow, I appreciate this food, and not everyone in the world has so much abundance available on their plate every day. So really take that moment to appreciate that.
Great. Really nice to hear some highlights. There were many examples in there, and they all had one thing in common, according to me, is that especially in the Dutch culture, and like I've spent time, I'm now living 8 years in the Netherlands. You were quite different from the norm. As in Dutch they say, like, doe normaal, like be normal. And whatever that is, whatever that means, like, but there's supposedly a normal way of living, which you deviated from quite a bit, you know, like in Dutch families. Again, I'm generalizing, that's not a good thing to do. Not in most, but many Dutch families, like, they would cook exactly the right portions for everyone, and there would be no leftovers for dinner, for example. And here comes Guido, like, to a friend's home. He eats like 3 times the portion, which means there's less food for someone else. So you were different from quite a young age. How was it for you at school? Like, did it affect you at school? This is a question, again, I ask many times because it always takes me back to my childhood and my experiences at school, because what you learn at home and at school was not the same for me. there's some examples. Like at school in India, they taught at international school you should eat with like a fork and a knife, and at home we were eating with hands. You should close your mouth when you're eating. Those kind of stuff never being followed at home. You should talk more in English because it was an English medium school. At home we were talking Hindi mostly. Some examples. But how was it for you?
Yeah, I was going to primary school in Wageningen in a Montessori school, and I have to say, like, I had quite some Dutch friends my first couple of years, but as the years progressed, I had a good friend from Iraq and a good friend from Palestine, for example, and they invited me to their house and eating with their family, also with hands, and way more delicious food than I ate at most of the Dutch friends. You know, like diverse, I would especially say. Side note is that if people would ever make salad, I was always the guy that eats a lot of salad. I just appreciate that freshness and that taste of salad. And so a lot of kids, what I figured later was like they would never eat a lot of salad, but I would always finish the whole salad bowl and then eat 2-3 times more than everyone else on the table from the salad because I just appreciated that so much.
Maybe going back to the time when you were in the womb of your mother in Zimbabwe, where she ate a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. That's where they also say, and as you mentioned, Buddhism as well, and a lot of studies that you acquire taste from a very young age, like even before you were born. So maybe that has a role to play in there.
I believe so, because I still love mangoes and avocados a lot, maybe two of my favorite foods. And very raw, you know, I appreciate raw, and just also it makes sense that it's so like directly alive, and that there's no like whatever you want to call
processing,
vegetarian, vegan, whatever. But for me, the thing is, raw makes for me a lot of sense, and if it's cooked, then it's still freshly cooked, not like days ago, but like freshly cooked. And that's what I appreciate a lot, and it just got confirmed big time when I was in India. But it set me apart quite early, and thanks to my friends from different Asian, African countries, mostly, I felt quite normal because of that. But I always connected a little bit more with brothers that also had a little different background, because they were just appreciating that, the food spirit in a different manner. Like, food is not meant to all be like at the table or even at the television and be like at the same time and not really have that vibe going. And here it was really like, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. You know, we're having dinner. It's not like we're having dinner, bye bye. It's like, welcome, we're having dinner. And, you know, like always like, do you want to eat? And you have friends also that want to eat here. And so my parents, looking back, I definitely am very grateful to have such a whole influence, not only from one kitchen, but really the vibe of welcoming and including others in.
Nice. So couple of things that I want to dive a little bit deeper into. You mentioned your trips to India. I was kind of saving it for a little bit later, because then we go deep down into it, starting from your first trip there, because I understood you have been there 3 times already. So I would like to know a lot about like those experiences. But before that, because we talked about food, and you mentioned also vegetarian and vegan options, and you mentioned when you were young, your family would not eat meat, and then you would like eat it at other people's place and then sometimes overeat it because you like crave the taste or whatever the reason may be. But in a conversation we talked just when we were having dinner, like at my place, that you mostly eat like plant-based foods, and as you said, like raw food now.
I would say plant-based, because raw is maybe half of my food. But I appreciate raw food a lot.
So how has that transition been from like a 3-year-old who is like gorging on salami to
I'm very visual.
To like someone who like decides to eat mostly plant-based?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I worked at a gym, as I told you, and I did some fitness courses in the 2015. And yeah, then it was just very much the norm that to get enough protein, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get enough protein, you need to have like
Yeah.
some quark or.
If you're going to the gym, you get like whey protein in those big boxes that trainers wanted to sell you.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah.
And I never really felt nice after having that.
Mm.
So I tried all kinds of drinks, weight gainers, whatever kind of whey protein,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I never felt really nice after having a sip. It was kind of tasty, some of them, but it was never really making my body like feel nice from the inside, you know.
Mm.
And that is what
You felt that it even drained energy out of you? Because I
Yeah.
had that experience myself when I took like those whey proteins way back when I was training in India.
Yeah.
I had that feeling that it was even like I would have stomach upsets and it would drain energy out of me.
Yeah.
I had that kind of feeling.
It was not definitely that I was so aware of my body that I could feel like this is draining my energy, but I just didn't feel so good.
Yeah.
And yeah, then it's kind of like a clue. Okay, this is not really what I should be doing. So yeah, going back to all the way when I was 3-4 years old, then I was just obsessed with different tastes. And whenever I tasted something that I was like, oh, that's nice, and we didn't have it at home, I just wanted to make sure that I had it because I would not have it again for a while.
No.
So that was what made me not only obsessed with like salami, but also just with you know, I don't know how it's called in English, but the kind of yogurt, but then the very sweet one. You know, like the fla.
Vla, yeah.
Yeah. So
Sweetened yogurt, yeah.
my parents never bought that.
No.
But whenever I ate that, like strawberry fla,
the
or
rush
vanilla,
of sugar that like the sugar rush you got like made you
vanilla,
eat more. Yeah.
the vanilla one.
Yeah.
We almost never had that at home,
Yeah.
and it was a very rare thing when it would
Felt like a luxury.
yeah, luxury, but also my mother was just very strict with the sugar already. So way before it was like a hype, she already knew like this is not good to give your kids so much sugar stuff. So it would be really, we never had candies, only like organic cookies and with less sugar in it.
Yeah.
And she was just, kind of like a freak according to some people. But looking back, I'm very thankful because I think that made me appreciate it a lot more when I had it at other places.
Yeah.
But it was never the norm. So it was regarded as something very special.
Yeah.
And sometimes you would crave something that's very special, but especially during the times when you're not in the position to choose what's on the menu, to choose what's in the house. I think it's great to have limited availability. That creates a lot of especially for a young kid, a lot of appreciation when something rare is there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I made the switch to plant-based in 2016, so now 7 years ago. And I never really looked back to meat. I don't see meat for me anymore as really something that I would consider a food source for a thriving human. And the reason I say it's so strict is if you have limited availability and it's still a question of survival, of course, man, like when I'm in the jungle and someone would hunt something, and I have nothing else, then, man, come on, you know, I'm not gonna die. But nowadays, we have so wide variety of options. And to look at it from so many different ways, like, why would I eat another being with eyes and ears and stuff that has not been living in a nice place at all, that was created solely for consumption? I mean, I could go on, but
sad,
it just didn't make sense for me, you know? Like, and forget about all the karmic levels and all the thoughts that you could dive into. It's just about, like, why would I do it if I feel so much more amazing in my body, and also health-wise, fitness-wise, even sleep-wise? Everything has improved in my life.
After giving up
meat at all, and also eggs, and with dairy, I would say I cut it by 99%. The only times that I have had dairy in 7 years were actually at the ashram of Isha. Really, that I really had it a couple, and then the cows are not being slaughtered at all. They're being part of the family, and it's a different principle, man. So I would say the transition is just about what makes my body actually feel awesome. And don't settle for anything less than what makes me feel great. You know, like that's important for me. Like I don't want to feel like, mwah.
Yeah. And that's where it started from, you.
It's still a journey,
yeah,
man.
It's a journey.
Yeah. It's exploration, and I appreciate the food that we had at your place a lot. And
it was a very simple chickpea curry, but you have like complimented me so many times for it. So thanks a lot.
But for me, basic can be so amazing.
Yeah.
It's really about the energy, what you put into it, and like cooking is totally different when you are just cooking yourself and cutting things yourself and doing things yourself than if you're just buying something, put it in a microwave, or it's there's so many different ways to approach things, and the energy.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so that was a little bit about food. Let's come to India. Yeah, that's something. I am from India, born and brought up there. In a big city though, New Delhi.
Yeah, the biggest, right? Is that the biggest?
In India, and I think in the world is the second largest. I've said it, I think, 3-4 times here now. 30 million and counting, like Delhi and the suburbs.
30 or
30? Wow. That is almost
twice
2
Netherlands
times
almost.
Netherlands. I think after Tokyo, it's the second largest city in the world. And it will overtake Tokyo also soon. It's a mega city. So also influenced by a lot of different cultures of India. It's a melting pot for many different cultures. So our neighbors were from Tamil Nadu, the same region where the Isha ashram is. So speaking another language.
Yeah.
And we had people from the east. We have a lot of people from the north who moved to Delhi after the partition of India and Pakistan. A lot of people who practice the religion of Sikhism. They live there from the region of Punjab. So it's a melting pot of many different cultures. Going back to your experience with India, I would like to know what inspired you to go there, like for the first time, and how do you look back at it?
Yeah. Now I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was 17. And I was studying at the school in Wageningen, Panterijn, at the secondary school. And I was not so keen or something on going. I knew that my grandparents were going like already for a while, and they have a fundraising charity, a part of it. My grandma was the chairwoman. My grandfather made that term up, like not chairman, my grandma was the chairwoman. Yeah. And she was there. So passionate about reconnecting children towards purpose, and in a sense that they could do something meaningful that they find meaningful, but also something that was in tune with nature again, so that children would not be raised in a way or educated in a way that they would throw things on the floor and stuff. And this was in Tamil Nadu, so in Tiruvannamalai. Yeah. And this inspired me to tune in with. But then I had the gala with my school, and exactly in that time my parents and my grandparents made like this thing that we would go, and I was quite excited to go, but not at that time. I was like, come on, now I miss the school gala, the party that I've been living towards. Like, this is my last real party at the school, blah blah blah. And now we're going to India, and I was just playing football a lot, and I was like, they don't even play that much football yet. No. So I want to bring my own football, so I did. Yeah. So I was not super excited, but once being there and really being there, I noticed and the dosa and all the different foods again, but also the culture and the warmness, that really made an impact on me. And I also saw that it was part of something bigger, that my grandparents were really doing their part to contribute to shift in the world, that we're not looking anymore at our lives as like we're living solely and we have to take care of our own good. No, we have to take care of our planet, and we have to take care with it as people, one people. Yeah. And this was part of what I saw back then already, especially reflecting back that my grandparents went there for so many years in a row for months on end, like every year 2 to 3 months they would go there, and I've been there more than 20 times. And it inspired me already back then, and I was like, I'll be back here. So that was the first time, and I made a brother, a good friend, and Anna Rajamani, and he's still there, and he's the English teacher now, and it's still. I met him also the second and third time when I'm back, and it's inspiring to meet that. Yeah, it's more of a blend of bringing some of the abundance in material here, and also gaining some of the deeper insights that are they're so present in the culture, and that goes with appreciating food, goes in so many levels.
How was it for you to coming from Netherlands? Like I assume that you had never been outside a Western country before you went to India, or is that correct? Or
that's correct.
Yeah. So how was it? How was the contrast between the rich and poor, the poverty for you at first? Because I can assume that can come across as a big culture shock in general, and that's what mainstream media in the West mostly focuses on the poor people in India. How was it for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people eating from the ground, man. Like, so that is definitely not light. But I think Netherlands is also very exceptional in the sense that you almost don't see that. Almost every other Western big city has also touches of that. And I don't want to say like they're fixing everything there now, but like in the 3 year times that I've been, 2009, 2010, 2016, 2023, I saw it improving a lot. Actually, in Tamil Nadu, in Tiruvannamalai especially, the village that's next to the project, to the land that the fundraising charity bought, Wonderland, and it's actually an Indian organization, Indian charity, but there's just Dutch funding coming there. The whole village where all the kids get extra English lessons and stuff, all those kids have now better jobs, better possibilities. So they help in regenerating that village. And you see actually that it's really having an impact on the whole neighborhood. So it's beautiful to see that in terms of like 2009, 2016, 2023, and really see that it has been climbing in terms of a lot of different ways of living. And I think people that come there now would not even think of it as poor anymore. In some places that used to be like the people eating from the streets, cooking really on the street, with like a small fire, making it really on the asphalt. So no, I'm quite inspired by it every time that I'm there.
So you see change happening and people getting out of poverty, and that's also, if you look at the research, it reflects in your experience as well. Like in the past decade, there was a UN report also. There are above 400 million people who got out of poverty in India, and it's an incredible feat to get like out of 1.4 billion to get like 400 million out of poverty in a short time is a big effort. So you see this is an combined effort of a lot of people together combined. And they made it possible. And I think like within a few years, like I think within a decade, it will be minimal, like at the pace that it's going. And I really hope for that. What was the biggest culture shock for you? Because this is something I was feeding words in your mouth, directly talking about one topic of poverty. But what was the biggest culture shock for you growing up in the Netherlands and then like being in India? And you can combine your experiences across your like 3 trips that you have made.
Yeah, I use actually one story for that. And that was in my second visit. I remember that I'm from naturally, and I think everyone is, but I consider myself to be a giving person that just likes to contribute something. And when I saw all those kids there coming for like the extra homework, I saw that all of them were just excited to go to the English class extra to learn, right? So that this nugget one from that story, like the excitement to learn more, and then I was like, hey, there's coming this sort of wagon. They sell all kinds of stuff, fruits and cookies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I bought this like a little organic biscuits and some fruit, and I was gonna give it to all the kids when they're done with English. So like 40 kids or something, or like doing this English class. And then I'm gonna sit next to the class, and they all say, come in. But I'm sitting because I want to keep the focus there and not like walk around during the class. So I'm sitting there quietly and giving them these fruits and these cookies. And the amount of warmth and appreciation and gratitude that I felt, like I still can get like the feeling in my heart is just like expansion like crazy. And this was for such a little thing for me, like maybe I bought it for like 100 rupees or something, or let it be 200, but it was so small in terms of financial, but such a big impact directly. And I still notice that's one of the stories that impacts me the most, because I've been in too many places, not only in the Netherlands but with people, that I just saw the misery that all of a sudden came out of someone after they don't get enough from something. And I also have to be guilty myself from it sometimes. Like it's crazy how much we can claim food or claim a certain amount of something and not be appreciative in depth anymore. And this depth of appreciation is a feeling that is still indescribable, but I just did a try. And that just impacts me in everything that I do, man. Like, be grateful, like, and not like just think gratitude. No, really set your whole body in the state of like, look, you're really gifted with this life, and that you're living in this freaking part of the planet. Like, if you don't feel that in all your bones, you really need to be checking yourself in the mirror and looking for more ways to go outdoor yourself, because we're blessed, man, and that is something. It's crazy. I really feel that.
I can understand that, because growing up like in India, although it was like a big city, so there are also differences if you have or you don't have certain things in the kind of appreciation that you show. I was from like a middle class family, I would say, but I also had rich people at school, and I think it has a lot to do with finances. That's for a reason why they say like the bigger you like live or are in life, the more lonely you are. Like that's the reason why like millionaires, for example, they usually tend to not have a lot of friends, because everyone they think is wanting to be friends with him for a reason. But if you have nothing, and that is true for like quite a big chunk of population around the world, they appreciate every little like help that comes their way, and they would also give it back in many ways. It's not that they are only there for taking, because I have another friend who goes back to Sri Lanka very often, and his wife is from Sri Lanka, and he mentioned this example to me as well. Like he had this interaction with group of school kids there, who like there was a really poor kid, maybe he didn't eat like in days or something. He like looked really meager, and he had one apple, and he offered the whole apple to him, because they were in a situation where like I think he was hungry. And so like going to that extent where you don't have anything, and whatever you have, like be it just an apple in your hand, and you need it more, you're even willing to let go of that for someone else's happiness. So that is something that I really appreciate for like a lot. And it's a quality which is like very difficult to find in current times.
I agree. And I would just add to your suggestion that it's not about that you cannot become wealthy, because you can actually. I think everyone is in a sense deserving to be wealthy and to feel that they have food in abundance and to have the freedom to go wherever they want. But it's more indeed, you don't need to be wanting it because you're doing it above anyone else. Like, I want it for everyone. right? And that freedom of movement and that freedom of eating, and that goes into a whole different realm. But I feel really that being in a place like that, we can come back to our core and feel how grateful we can be with all the simple things that we have already.
Yeah.
And from that point, you can start getting more. Because if you show that gratitude for the little things, then also other things can come your way. And if you're not grateful right now with the little things, man, more will not make you more happy then.
Yeah, sharing will, and you should always feel like that the need to share. And that's also like an inherent, inbuilt need in us to share resources. If one has more, then also like hold the hand of others who are struggling to bring them out of like misery, to help them out. That's very important. And I would like to say that you like, especially when like people have their basics met and they have some level of luxury, then at one moment the things that they own start to own them.
Yeah, exactly.
And if that happens, then what people have given it different names, like their midlife crisis is one of them.
Yeah, it's kind
and
of
stuff,
sad.
and that happens. And I think people should be like more talking about this, and again, always go back to the basics, be generous and giving and sharing, like just how you put it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Back to the core.
Yeah, so okay, one last topic I want to discuss before we bring an end to this talk. I've really liked the talk till now with you, going on from like your journey and your background to your trips to India, about food. We discussed about plant-based food and its health effects. Fitness is something that we started off, but I want to dive deep into because I follow you on Instagram. Not very long, but I went through a few of posts. It's incredible some of the things you can do, like for example, lifting your whole body weight on like your hands and stuff. I think it would be a dream for many people to have like reached that level, and it must have taken a lot of practice and patience to reach there. Um, how has your personal journey like regarding fitness has been, and where do you see it going? Because there's one post that I saw is when you came back from India where you said, oh, I don't feel 100% of my strength or stamina at this moment, so I need to build it up. This is something that you focus on, because a lot of people would not even think about that, especially the ones who are really caught up in day-to-day life, like they put fitness and like somewhere in the background. So a little bit about your journey and some tips that you can share with our listeners regarding fitness.
That's good. My topic. No, but I think let's just divide it in like health also first, right? Because if fitness and health is often seen as the same, but I think it's very important to cut it and to really look at health first and to see like what does health mean for you, right? And then it also comes to the point like, how long do you think that you can go on in this way with the current things that you're doing for your health?
How sustainable it is.
How long can you keep going on like this? And that's the question that I asked myself. And then what I noticed in India and with what I was doing, that I was focusing too much on a lot of good things for the body, for sure, like even meditating, quite a long practice and stuff. But I don't see myself doing that and not being able to run up a small mountain or hill or something. And I want to be able to have also a certain level of fitness, what really is something else than only health. Physical fitness, conditioning, strength, what really sets me on a journey that if I think about something, hey, I want to run there this day, this 10 kilometer, or hey, I want to swim, hey, I want to do this. I just want to be able, okay, let's do it. And my body can never be the limitation for that. And that, I think everyone has that have that longing inside of them, because nobody needs to be sportive even, or whatever a sport means. You don't need any sport to feel amazing in your body. Like there's just a necessity that you move.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody
We
does.
are designed for it as humans.
We're designed for it. Like we have a body, our head is for a reason this big and the rest of our body is way bigger. I mean, if it was the other way around, people could argue to me, no, actually our head is the most important. But I think that it's too much attention has been trapped in especially the cognition and the intellect, and too less has been on the intuition, on the creative aspect, you know, and I mean, we have so much to discover inside, and I think that is, it's almost a shame now to try to convince people that they should go into nature with a study of how healthy it is. Look, you should go to nature. Like, come on, you know, like, how do you feel?
Okay, so I think it's a good moment to also like end the podcast. Thanks a lot for being here. I would really like to invite you to my place in India. Like I'll be there next year, so or maybe the year after. You can always like call and we can hang out there. Explore also a little bit like the north of India, like where I come from.
Super.
And thanks a lot for just being here, sharing tips, sharing your life experiences. That's the most important. So another culture like ticked off, I would say.
Exactly.
But I really love to do this, like, and that's why I started this. Again, I got to really learn a lot from your experiences, starting from the day when you knocked on my door, I would say 8 years back. So thanks a lot again.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that was Guido. Don't forget to follow him on Guido Goaltrainers. They are on Instagram. He has his own website. And you can follow fitness in a more fun way with a group of people, like-minded people. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, Cross Culture Safari. Share with friends, and see you next time with another interesting personality on this podcast. Have a nice day.